I'm ready.
Okay, everybody. Guys, it is the semifinal. So, boys and girls, we're going into the game between Chu8, the Chu8 Hotdogs, and Astral Authority. And we have a Carrigan ban on the first map, the Sky Temple. It's a North America qualifier, the last qualifier for the first regional final. So, whichever team wins here is going to advance to the regional final, which is absolutely going to be fantastic. And yeah, the Chu8 boys made it all the way into the semi. As two teams qualify from the qualifier, the semi is the last best of 3 series that we are going to cast. I'm with Trikslyr here today, and we have Sky Temple as our first map with bans on Carrigan and Kelthas.
Yeah, Chu8 looking like he wants to come take hot dogs away from Astral Authority and also secure a slot in Los Angeles. Artanis is currently being highlighted, but I have learned my lesson today. Nobody's playing Artanis. They just hate me as a person. Greymane will be first picked here. Been pretty standard. He's just been well-rounded. He brings out a lot of damage. You can draft around him pretty solid. Just a great foundation. Yep. Chu8 and team looking at Falstead.
So they're looking at Falstead, and while we have Greymane, I want to say that this is also a map where Abathur can really shine. So we've been seeing a lot of Abathur together with Greymane here today, and like Abathur, Tyrael, Greymane has been a solid comp for Astral Authority throughout the entire day already. So this is something that has to be considered here too. It could be that the Chu8 team actually kind of knows that, since they've also been observing a few of these games. But considering that there's still an ETC around, they want to make sure that they get him first. They have Falstead already, which is an amazing hero on any map, and on Sky Temple, global abilities are, of course, absolutely brilliant. Question is still, will AA just continue with the theme and the style that they showed in the last matches and go again for the Abathur here, and maybe Ollie drop in an early Tyrael? What do you think?
It's possible. I think Abathur behind Cursed Hollow is probably one of his other battlegrounds that he's really strong on as well. You're able to rotate relatively easy as you can find out where the objectives are and you can kind of exploit where they are because the opposing team doesn't want to be in that area. So, yeah, if it's working, stick with it and continue to show people how it's done. The question is, if Chu8 and the crew has been watching their matches, what is their way of approaching that? I think picking up double warrior and forcing engages can be pretty powerful if you get a chance. But I wouldn't recommend going full damage Muradin build.
Muradin on this map is actually like one of the early picks that we usually see because he can soak a temple on his own. It's one of the main reasons why he has such a high priority here. We have, of course, in the past also seen a lot of other teams go for a massive Muradin focus. Tempest, for example, has done that. Also the old Cloud9 setup. But this is one of the maps where more or less every single team in the past agreed that Muradin is just a standard solid pick since he can soak an entire temple on his own, which is really fantastic if you want to split him off. Right now, he hasn't been taken yet. But there is that Tyrael that we've been mentioning, and no Abathur yet, but we have a Rhaegar. So they're saying we take Rhaegar first, and they might still jump into an Abathur. Maybe are just trying to bait a ban. But one way or another, the combo already leaning again towards what we expected here, the Tyrael and Greymane composition, trying to go for that huge, massive dive combo with the Sanctification, protecting Greymane as he jumps in for the kill.
Yeah, we've been talking about it all day. We've been seeing it all day. Uther being banned out alongside ETC, but Tyrael and Uther do seem to combo pretty well as they just have so many shields they can pause fights for a relatively long. It could be a worthy ban for Chu8 to pick up here, but they're actually going to go with the Thrall ban, which is interesting. I feel like Thrall is more of a 4th, 5th pick hero that isn't really needed as much, but taking him away prevents them from getting an easy disruption on ETC's Mosh Pit.
I actually think why they banned out Thrall is because they might have misread this a little bit. The thing is, Thrall was actually one of the combos with Greymane and Tyrael was originally played on North America. That's actually where it originated, and then other regions have picked it up as well.
Nah, greater than E, bring back the Gazlo.
Okay, Gazlo is being demanded here. I'm not quite sure if that's going to happen, but thanks, Marik.
Please give.
But coming back to this, like, it originated in Europe. I think KO back then talked a lot about the comp. Sorry, it originated in NA. KO was one of the players that talked a lot about the composition. I think he even created a video about it. And then other regions picked it up too, and the focus shifted a little bit more to double Greymane with an Abathur. But if I remember correctly, when it was actually starting to come up, a lot of teams started to play with Greymane plus Thrall plus Tyrael. So you had that massive front line. Abathur wasn't really used originally with it. And I think this could be why Thrall was banned out here. It's also, of course, another interrupt against ETC. Maybe that's a bit of a thought process here as well. They're saying, hey, they're trying to run that combo. Yes, an Abathur here would be good, but Abathur would more or less bring the exact same problem to them that we've seen already earlier, where they don't have enough interrupts. So if we're actually getting Thrall out of the way, then we make sure that no matter what they pick, they're going to struggle a bit against the Mosh Pit.
So Li Ming and Sonya have been picked up here. and I like Li Ming being taken away. We've been seeing Li Ming being the opener here for Grey Mane, bringing in those orbs, bringing in the damage, using Wave of Force or Disintegrate, mostly Wave of Force to prevent any major engagements from happening on Grey Mane. But now that Li Ming is unavailable for Astral Authority, I would love to see what they're going to pick up for that opener. We saw Chromie earlier for another team. Unfortunately, it just did not work for them. I believe it was the Phantas. But I would love to see what Astral Authority believes in picking up here. But it does appear that they're going to try and maybe go for a more standard comp here, as Abathur is not being highlighted yet. We have Zeratul as the pickup, which kind of indicates that you want to get maybe another warrior here, or maybe go 3-line backline assassin, and really just try to actually fight straight up.
I really feel one of the reasons why they pick Zeratul right now is also, first of all, pressure, of course, against the backline. But with the Li Ming pick on the side of the Chu8 Hotdogs, there is just very little available anymore that has interrupts against ETC. Because this is one of the heroes that AA actually relied upon in past plays, where they were just saying, okay, at least we have that. Is Gul'dan allowed? I don't think he's allowed. I think they're trolling again. No, they're going into... yeah, they're definitely trolling. But the problem that we still have here is that there's very little interrupt against ETC. So far in all of the games, they struggled with that as is, but they always had at least something. And most of the time, it was at least a heroic ability that is on a short cooldown when we're talking about Li Ming, for example. Now, if they want to interrupt with the Sylvanas Wailing Arrow, they have to sacrifice a massive cooldown for that. So, yeah, we have a Void Prison as a setup. Sylvanas can also capitalize with the Wailing Arrow on the Void Prison if they time it properly. There's a lot of potential synergy here, but it's also a very scary draft that we're seeing from Chu8 against this setup, just because they have that Mosh Pit, they have that Sonya, and they have a fair amount of damage here as well. They're playing very traditionally with a double damage dealer, double frontline.
They also have just a ton of global pressure as well. And also, I look at every single one of these heroes here, and I feel like they're all pretty strong on their own. They're all great individual mechanical heroes that they have picked up. And this team, Chu8, they have a lot of good players on their team. I'm a little bit... not worried, but I'm curious how the rotations are going to be. We've seen Astral Authority. They can be pretty strong in the rotations. When they can get momentum, they seem to have superior teamwork. I want to see how Chu8 and a bunch of these individual players that have put a team together at the last second, how well they perform rotating around the map and working as a team.
This is definitely not going to be an easy game for Astral Authority. I'm very curious to see who's going to take the lead here, because these are strong drafts, especially the Chu8 draft is very powerful. A lot of globals for Sky Temple is awesome. You have ETC, you have Sonya. There's a lot of potential here for sure. I mean, guys, we're going to jump in. We're going to find out which team is going to take the lead here. Map number 1, Sky Temple in the semifinal at the regional qualifier number 3 in North America. Game number 1 has started, guys, and we are, in this case, looking at the Chu8 Hotdogs at the left side with Yoda on ETC, Araragi on Sonya, Roya on Brightwing, Chu8 himself on Li Ming, Talas on Falstad, and to the right side of the map, it's none other than Astral Authority with Frozen X on Sylvanas, Talking Trees on Greymane, Kledias on Zeratul, Dark Chimera on Rhaegar, and Battery on Tyrael. And I'm here today once again with Trikslyr in this last match, the semi-final that is being played right now. And before we're heading into this, a quick shout out also to Araragi, who is actually, for the longest time, he was a pro player. He actually lived in Poland, in the European scene for quite a bit, playing for Fnatic back then, has been around since the Alpha. So there's a lot of very experienced players that we're currently seeing on the lineup of Chu8's team. So that experience helps them with the draft, and that esports experience also is, of course, something that gives them maybe even a bit of an edge here, as this is the best of 3 series that everybody has been waiting for already today.
Right away, Chu8 and crew move down the bottom right here to stop this push here from Sylvanas, and they will secure first blood in today's match. Great pickup by them. Something else to note really quickly here is Kledias is once again gone for that greater cleave, which indicates he does want to go for his gathering power build. However, I'm a little fearful for that, because Brightwing is so good at shutting down Zeratul. If you're not on point, with being able to blink away or make sure you're not in an area where Warrior can land that polymorph, Zeratul could be focused down.
This is actually also one of the maps where the greater cleave build over this like gathering power build with a cleave was played first. That was on the Korean server where we saw that. And this is actually the map where this was just like the build, because you always go for the poke. If you go for the gathering power build, the idea behind it is that you simply just like try to go in for the poke and then move out again. This is also why you pick up on the level 7 talent for Cleave 2, which allows you to get the extra damage in after stealth. So this is something that we could definitely see here. But as we already heard from Trikslyr, there is of course the potential that you're being locked down and that can be scary. If a Brightwing gets you, if then an ETC slides in and you're locked down and you're losing your stacks, that can be a big problem. So this is always one of the arguments against gathering power, especially against such a setup.
Yeah, especially when you have heroes here that really aren't too easy to kill off as Zeratul. Fall certainly mean to a degree, but they do have tools to get away from you if they play it correctly. So we'll see how it goes. Top lane is now getting a lot of pressure here as Frozen X is doing his best to rotate, grab these turrets so they can get towards level 4. Both teams seem to be exchanging the temples here as we have the red team grabbing the top here. Astral Authority getting theirs melted down while Sonya is holding the temple in the middle. Brightwing is staying down on the bottom. Just watch out for her if she will phase shift if she needs to. But so far, it looks like both teams are going to walk away a little bit on the even side here.
Yeah, Greyman in the mid lane is actually being attacked a bit, but Talking Trees is able to escape. The walls are already destroyed, and the fort at the top lane has taken significant damage already. Very well done by Astral Authority, but thanks to Brightwing at the bot lane, the experience lead currently goes to Chu8 Hotdogs. So we have on level 4, indeed, the gathering power taken by Zeratul. We're also seeing now the Withering Barrage after Paralysis. We have the Eyes in the Dark taken for Greymane. And besides that, we are also seeing for the opponent after the Warpaint focused attack here. So starting to already go for the damage with the Sonya. We have Updraft, which I personally like quite a lot on the fall set. It's a talent that we occasionally see in Europe, especially from my Insanity. The idea is that you have great escape, of course, against heroes like Zeratul and Greymane. But you also have a very nice positioning tool to get yourself into a good spot if you want to hit that perfect flank for the Mighty Gust.
Well, Astral Authority, in terms of map control, are doing their best to grab what they can. They grab the Giants in the bottom right, but I love the reactions here from Royer, Chu8, and Yoda. They are constantly making sure to be immediately in a scenario here where they can help out Brightwing and prevent any too much crazy damage happening on their turret. Also in the top right corner, Sylvanas, Falstad, and Rhaegar have now grabbed their own mercenary camp. It's a little bit on the early side here, but they actually did it in response here to the mercs that were grabbed by Chu8 and crew. They grabbed theirs incredibly early, which is interesting because usually when you try and grab them at a time right before the altar spawns, it looks like the red team will have a chance to get a little bit of pressure here on this fort. It is already pretty low here from Sylvanas earlier.
That timing is actually working really fast against them because this fort is going to fall, so I'm a bit surprised that this happens. Normally you just wait, but oh my god, Tyrael actually falling down here, trying to get the counter kill against Araragi. Greymane died as well. I feel especially like that evasion down here wasn't really necessary, but they still get massive value up at the top. It's still a fact, though, that the blue team is in the lead when it comes to experience, and that is, of course, mainly to Brightwing just constantly being down at the bot lane, soaking it, and now the Siege Giant camp should get decent value. So having Greymane and Tyrael die is, of course, a massive issue at this case. I really like the way that they were playing it up to that point, but losing those two was a bit unnecessary, I feel.
Yeah, a little bit painful. It seems like Astral Authority was okay with losing experience down the bottom right corner in exchange for the fort in the top left corner, but I gotta question it and see if it will pay out for them because again, you're right. Right now, Chu8 and his team is ahead here by nearly half a level. They're looking to get into another engagement. Greymane isn't quite here. Battery does take some damage as well as Palladius. Sonya is finally on her way down, while there is still pressure actually happening in the top left lane.
Yeah, they could have gotten even more out of that camp if not for those two deaths, but now it's all about the team fight at the bot lane, of course. Araragi is already trying to be in a bit of a position where he can attempt to flank here, hiding himself. Battery, on the other hand, is moving in, is immediately chased by Yoda. Dark Chimera is there. They're trying to make sure that they're not getting trapped here. Chimera moving back, again Li Ming with the orbs. Chu8 up at the front as Battery's jumping in with his Tyrael, trying to chase them down. Araragi is dead. Great kill here once more. Gladius with good damage, and that kill against Brightwing now. Battery might fall, but he's trying to get the value, and he will get the kill against ETC. Really well done here by Astral Authority.
Interesting how that fight occurred. It actually started out really well. Araragi was putting pressure on Zeratul, trying to force him to blink early so he could prevent himself from going in and putting out the damage. However, Gladius, having no fear, believing in his teammates, still mounted up, ran in and got a massive cleave off. And although the reset was almost there for Chu8 and his team, they just didn't quite hit it. And with Tyrael bringing in that damage, you can just see how Chu8 and the rest of the team just fell apart. And now, Astral Authority is actually ahead here in experience. They got the 10 a little bit quicker, and they take over map control, and they've killed off 2 forts.
Exactly, the infrastructures on the map. Like, the structural advantage that we see for Astral Authority is insanely strong. And if you are playing on a map where the objective attacks the structures of your opponent directly, if you are able to just kill a few of those off just more or less manually, you are finding yourself in an absolutely fantastic position. And this is exactly what's going on here right now. So they must be very happy with the spot that they're in. They, of course, have to make sure that they are still going into the next team fight very well prepared, because it is going to be a team fight on even talent still. But they have a very solid spot right now. And especially, it's also, of course, Gladius here, who has already 3 stacks on his gathering power. Can he make it 4? Nah, doesn't really want to go in for it. And good point, like, he shouldn't really try to play this greedy and try to blink after the opponent. If he dies, then he's going to lose everything.
Yeah, at this point, the power of fear is much stronger than actually trying to secure that kill and potentially walking into a Brightwing and suddenly losing your power spike. I like the aggression from Gladius. Walk in, applying damage where he can, really trying to prevent the opponents from overextending in any way, shape, or form, or even being out by themselves. You see Li Ming, she was actually in the bottom left corner trying to get a little bit of pressure on the minion wave, but realizes, you know what, with Zeratul being on the field here with a couple of gathering power stacks, I have to play safe, and they retreat through the middle here. Good play by Gladius.
Yeah, Emerald Wind now also, of course, always a thing. But well, all the combos that he could stack up together. They have a lot of disengage right now, not only with the Emerald Wind, but with the Mighty Gust. Gladius overall is doing a very good job here, as you just pointed out, of course, too. But now that we have the level 10s in play, I really want to see how they are starting to use the Wailing Arrow, because there's several ways how we can actually try and set this up. If ETC Moshpit goes through and you try to simply use it for an interrupt, that's definitely a possibility. But with that Void Prison as being part of the comp, you could go for a simple setup with a Void Prison and then put the Silence on top of it. It's something that you normally see with a more so than with a Void Prison, but in the past that has definitely been a combo.
I am a little bit curious about the Emerald Wind pick. I was hoping maybe we would get Blink Heal, especially with Gladius going full GP build. You want to have the ability to blink onto whoever is being targeted by the Zeratul and save them with the Polymorph. Now it becomes a little bit harder to do so, and Brightwing left the position heavily. Yoda, though, getting aggressive here. Battery will pop the Purification. There's a Mosh Pit on 2 members. Solid cleanse, though. Sylvanas is in trouble, is able to apply the damage here. Gladius going for Warrior, but it looks like Tyrael will fall here. Going for the explosion. Does take out Sonya, and it is a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, he gets the trade, and I want to point something else out. While all of this happened, the top lane is still pushing. I have to say that the Chu8 Hotdogs have a very bad timing on their own camps. Every single time it happens, their own camp is taken away by the opponent immediately, and then we have Astral Authority just pushing in with their own. That forces Falstad back, but still it's going to be damage against the structures. It's going to be an even trade in terms of temples still. 13 versus 13, incredibly close match here already. But I feel with a few slight adjustments, the Chu8 Hotdogs could put even more pressure onto Astral Authority.
Oh, you could tell Yoda and Chu8 really wanted to catch Gladius there and try to get these GP stacks reset. Unfortunately, that just did not occur for them. The team here, Astral Authority, are set up around this temple. We do have the aggression occurring here from Chu8, and I like the play because they know that Gladius had to walk away about half health. They're trying to find a scenario where they can get in. However, Moshpit is down. They need to be aware of that and need to make sure that they play around the engagement.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, both of the teams are just looking for any kind of setup that they can get, and they're jumping in already. Emerald Wind is being used, but the Sanctification is doing a whole lot of work to negate that. And again, they're retreating onto the temple. They have now the opportunity to take the last few shots, which is indeed what they do. We have also Zeratul just trying to poke whenever he gets the opportunity to. But yeah, the Chu8 Hotdogs, they move back for now. They just let it go. This will drop another fort. They're still behind in structures. They have caught up a little bit, though, at least. But they are still a little bit behind when it comes to that. In experience, they're still completely fine. But when it comes to the structural advantage on the map, then the Astral Authority boys are still taking the lead.
Yeah, gotta agree. I do want to mention that last fight. Chu8 actually had a really nice combo setup with his orb and then Disintegrate. Unfortunately, we saw that Aragi was a little bit in trouble, so Mighty Gust had to be used, and the entire combo unfortunately missed. I think it would have actually secured a kill on Rhaegar, because he was a little bit on the overextended. So maybe some communication needs to go down here. People need to yell out their abilities, their skill shots, to make sure that they're connecting them.
Sylvanas value, but they need to move away as we see Yoda looking for a mosh pit, and he gets it. Cleanse used, but it still catches. They interrupt with a silence, and now they go in once again. Emerald Wind already dropped, but at the same time, Sanctification has hit the ground. Talk increase with the kill potential against ETC, and he takes him on, but he himself dies to Battery. Is jumping around, falling again, trying to get a counter kill, but this time he's not getting it. And the Void Prison is dropped, but Zeratul is still falling. And the Chu8 Hotdogs with 8 kills versus 5. take a great lead here. They have 4 heroes on the map against only 2. They can start to push, but they also need to put Falstad down to the bot lane again because there is still a camp pushing through for Astral Authority.
Still, that is a major win if you're a fan of the Chu8 Hotdogs. You got Zeratul killed off, the Gathering Power stacks are now gone. You also were able to deny the Ancestor healing that would have saved Greymane, and you kill out, what was that, 4 members? So nice pickup there by the Chu8 Hotdogs. They now take the lead, and they have a duty here to grab the map control, and they are doing so. They're grabbing Giants in the bottom left, even thinking about grabbing this boss. Now, Mighty Gust is up, so is Emerald Wind, so they do have the tools to delay this, and Void Prison is not available.
But there's Sank available any moment again, and with Sanctification, you cannot go for it. Even if you have the talent advantage, that is a risk that I would never take in 1,000 years. This could really turn it against you. I'm not quite sure if I would actually try and force it then again. That might be a bit too much, especially since Tyrael is trying to do it on his own. That might not be the right play here. And Sylvanas is down. And I'm not 100% certain what exactly Astral Authority was trying to do there. But that backfired hard.
That was a bit iffy. I'm not sure why Battery kept up with the aggro on the boss there. I think he was wondering about actually making a call for it. And Chu8 and the Hotdogs took an opportunity to move to the mid lane and pick off the boss, which is a big pick. But here we go, another fight around the boss. We have Battery trying his best to apply some damage here. Now, that doesn't mean that Sanctification is not available for these teams here. Caladius and crew are going to be forced to give up this boss, and now pressure will be down the bottom lane.
I have to admit that I'm really disappointed by the decision-making that Astral Authority just showed here. That was
last minute, yeah.
That was absolutely horrible. I mean, like, first of all, you keep the aggro with Tyrael, and that is already a bit of a questionable decision. Then you lose Sylvanas, and that's the moment when you realize, okay, this is over. We have to accept that they are going to get the boss, and we have to move back. They tried to go for boss again in a 4 versus 5. And Tyrael was then dropped too. Now they are still going up against the boss. They lose 2 temples because of it, and they're falling farther and farther behind. They would have still been alright, a little bit behind, but just look at what's happening right now. Forts are falling, double temple shots against them. They are more or less 1.5 levels behind as is, and it's 10 kills against 5. Astral Authority are starting to really fall massively behind because they have just some weird decisions in this stage of the game.
Yeah, some strong power plays here from Chu8 and the Hotdogs. It looks like Astral Authority is trying to make their own play as well. Caladius, though, does get sectioned off by Kalis. He is forced to use Void Prison. There is a 4v4 in the top right corner here, though, as Aragi and the crew do run in. Moshpit will be used. Frozen Yex is low on HP. Brightwing is trying to secure the kill. Rhaegar will fall, and it looks like so will Sylvanas at the same time. Yoda in trouble, but Battery and Greymane will be power slided. Talus and Li Ming going for the resets. Can they get a 4th kill here? Watch for Caladius on the left. It looks like just barely Talking Trees will get out, but boy, these fights are so back and forth, but Chu8 and the Hotdogs are taking advantage.
Yeah, they take an advantage. I mean, at this point, we still have a decent trade, or at least we had until like the last few moments, but then there comes again the next last kill. And I have to admit that right now, the situation is just absolutely disastrous for Astral Authority. It's 1 level until we're having 20 already for Chu8 and the Hotdogs. The fight at the top lane was also a bit iffy. Once they killed ETC and Brightwing, I really thought they might have a chance to turn it around there. But it's just too difficult for them at this point. The interrupt potential against ETC's Mosh Pit is just not as strong as they were probably hoping for. You could tell in a few of the fights, as ETC is always threatening him here. And Sonya's just getting stronger and stronger as the game progresses. Once she hits 20, it's going to be so difficult to take her down. And yeah, Astral Authority, they are far behind right now. And we are talking keeps at this point.
And you're mentioning that Sonya is getting stronger as the game goes on, which I agree with, but Zeratul is also getting weaker. He has yet to get any more Gathering Power stacks. He's still sitting at 0. His level 4 talent is effectively inefficient, and it gets even worse here because he's built into the Q build, which means he wants to apply pure damage in an area effect area, and he's not getting the optimal amount of damage because he has no Gathering Power stacks. This is very, very scary for Astral Authority, especially when Chu8 and the Hotdogs are about to hit level 20 before the next temple phase.
I really feel that like the blue team is currently sitting there and just simply saying like, guys, like they don't even have to make massive plays right now. They just have to play it solid. And so far, we always had a situation in which their opponent made mistakes and they could capitalize on it. So they're just sitting there and they're saying like, guys, wait until they screw up and then we capitalize on it. Just like wait a little bit, play it safe, and once they start to engage, we just like do our thing. And it works perfectly for them. And now they have 20.
It looks like Chu8 and them may want to make the play here, though. Going for the Mighty Gust. It pushes Talking Trees into Sonya, so that was pretty solid. But Battery does show up here, and Greymane gets obliterated. Battery in trouble as well, being focused. He's going to pop the Sanctification. Yoda brings in the NA Mosh Pit, but still, the results are in front of your face. It's a 5v4 right now, and Temples are about to shine in about 5 seconds.
We have the 20 and it really shows. You can't lose Greymane here. He's such a pivotal part of your composition, and especially when we see the Sank being dropped for an escape. This is not how you want to play the combo. Then again, they have to of course retreat from this, but now just look at that damage output. Chu8 is just lasering everything to death here. They're going for it, and he's just going full Archon at this point. I mean, right now we're having him with the Archon, he's lasering it down, he's sieging up here, and that's exactly what he should do. They're getting the first keep. There's a temple at the bot lane that they can go for. We don't have Astral Authority with a level 20 just yet, and guess who has Epic Mount? It's Falstad, and he's using that immediately to rotate down to the bottom. Astral Authority, they need 20, then they need to get their, like, they need to just, like, simply focus and really get those team fights going that we saw at the beginning of the game, because ever since the mid game, they've been falling apart.
Yeah, very true here. They need to regroup. You're completely correct here. We have Cladius in the middle lane trying to get level 24's team so they can regroup up and actually have a chance to fight around this temple. Luckily, there is only one available here, so now Chu8 and the Hot Doggies are going to try their best here to set up. You already see everyone down here on the left. Yoda leading the charge here, going to hold down the moment. Battery's in a bit of an odd position. He does have some ability to maneuver out there if he needs to. And here we go. Frozen X and the rest of the Astral Authority are going to give chase here. Warrior is a little out of position.
There we go, they're trying to go for it. Battery is trying to go for Brightwing. Brightwing barely escaping. Battery himself is low but can still escape here. Also didn't really proc all of his shields just yet. They can go for the temple. It's 20 versus 20, that's even talents now. Astral Authority is not out of this yet. They have a problem, of course, since the top keep has been taken out, and another thing that just like puts on that is that we have so many globals for the opponent. So again, the mobility is going to allow Brightwing and Falstad to just like rotate through the lanes and pressure them, making sure that there's even more pressure against the remaining keeps and the top lane core. Also, if
Rhaegar.
You can't.
A big pickoff. Greymane will be able to salvage the fight, though. Does maneuver in, but Yoda hits a mosh pit. Tyrael will be able to come out here and try and get some damage on Chu8. He does get blown up, actually. What? Cladius in the top right corner is low HP as well. He goes there for the money cleave. Unfortunately, not enough. Sonya and Yoda are going to try their best here to hold on to the situation. And somehow a 3-for-3 trade, that was salvaged barely by Tyrael.
Yeah, the 3-for-3 trade, and I don't really know how that happened, because after Rhaegar died, that game should have, like, that fight should have ended massively in favor of the Chu8 Hotdogs. So Astral Authority actually able to salvage the game here. And, or at least for now, this isn't lost yet, but this game is getting a bit crazy. 17 kills against 10 at this point. The kill against Rhaegar, something like this just shouldn't happen. They need to make sure that they're not getting blindsided like this. It's really one of the big strengths here that Falstad has the global ability, that you have so many lockdowns. And they need to rotate away a bit faster. They have to be a bit smarter on the map itself. Now the boss is up again, which is of course a huge focus point for both of the teams. And they are already going for it. And this could determine the outcome of the game. Actually, I feel no matter which team takes it right now, with the keep already being this low on the bot lane for the Chu8 team, if this one is stolen away by Astral Authority, they have a very good shot at finishing with it.
Yeah, I think Chu8 and the Hot Doggies need to pull away. They may not have the timer down for the Void Prison. They could potentially walk in, but Sanctification is still there. That was a threat that we saw earlier. Cladius is doing a really good job here of floating around.
Trikslyr? ETC doesn't have a mosh pit. He doesn't have a mosh pit, it's on cooldown, and there's the Sank already being used. The boss is taken, boss is claimed, and if they get 1 or 2 kills right now, Astral Authority can finish this game and turn it around, and there's the silence. What a beautiful silence! Zeratul is dead though, the Mighty Gust comes in, but Falstad and Brightwing are both falling. They're trying to chase the rest. The boss is mercilessly moving through the bot lane, and this is a massive problem, especially since Sylvanas is still there. They don't even wait for the boss. They're just going straight in with Sylvanas. This could be game. This should be game. It's a 4 versus 3 with the boss moving on to core.
Chu8 and Yoda would try their best to hold on here, but I think I gotta agree with you. This is looking like it might just be game. Yoda disrupting the back line here, trying to keep Greymane off the core, but it continues to fall here. The mosh pit will go off on Rhaegar, but that doesn't really matter. Battery bringing in the Tyrael damage as well to help blow up the core, and that is going to be game back and forth action, but Astral Authority, with the use of Sanctification, will pull it out.
Unbelievable. Boss steal, and they take it. The lead for Astral Authority in the best of 3. The second game takes place on Towers of Doom, everybody, and we have the draft starting up. So, once again, we just saw the Chu8 team lose on Sky Temple after they kind of dominated a huge amount of the match, but then in the end, a steal on the boss. Guaranteed victory for Astral Authority, which maybe played a bit sloppy and too lighthearted here, but now, of course, in the lead, they only need to win one more map, and this might be it already. Chu8 with a ban on Greymane, apparently done with that. And Trikslyr, I guess like AH, just simply likes to tease you, don't they? They even highlight the Nova as a potential ban, but of course they're going to switch it over, and it is Kerrigan that they're going to get rid of.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Chu8 does play the Nova player hero killer #1, Nova. So it is something that you do have to think about, but yes, they do elect to play Kerrigan. Earlier, we did see Astral Authority playing on this battleground. Remember, we saw a composition that was played around Abathur, actually, so that needs to be in the back of our minds here. We'll see if Astral Authority will intend to go that route again. I've seen Talking Trees play it multiple times now. First pick for Chu8, though, will be Kael'thas.
Where's my false stat? I mean, we've been talking a bit,
man.
We've been talking about like Lost Vikings and how NA doesn't really like them too much. In Europe, that would have been a Lost Vikings pick immediately, or at least we would see it during the draft here, if not even for a ban. But Falstad with a global presence on this map is such a great hero that I'm actually a bit surprised that the Chu8 Hotdogs are not going for him immediately. And I would be very shocked if Astral Authority is not going to pick up on him. So they go for him. I would actually like them to play that with an ETC, to be honest with you. Taking it away from Kael'thas, like also ETC on your own side, can do a whole lot of work here. Falstad, I'm happy with that, but I would say like an ETC would still be a solid pickup for them.
I'm wondering if they're going to go that route or even go for the Tyrael once again. They seem to really favor that build and really follow up, but again, that synergy is taken away as Greymane was banned, so now we might actually see a different warrior from Astral Authority, and ETC is being highlighted, and there it is.
Now they are actually teasing me. Did you see that Viking hover?
Yeah, I saw the Viking pick there. My heart fluttered for a second there. I was like, are we going to see NA evolve? Are we moving up to the Viking picks? But nope, not on this day.
Yeah, we have the ETC on the other hand, and the ETC is kind of what I predicted, so I'm happy with it. I personally believe that taking it away from the Kael'thas is a really good move here. But we have, of course, oh, there we see the Tyrael now, actually highlighted. So are they going to try and take a page out of the book of Astral Authority to take them down here? And yes, indeed they do. So Kael'thas already taken, Tyrael and Sonya, strong frontline here already, very aggressive frontline as well if they commit to both of them. And I actually like that the Chu8 Hotdogs are playing Sonya this much. This is one of the heroes that I was missing a bit in a lot of the drafts that we had today, where priority was given even to Thrall, which in most regions, like including Korea, is not really such a high priority anymore, especially if you compare to what we are seeing done with Sonya normally. So yeah, I kind of like what they're drafting here, but I really believe that one of the teams is going to go for a bit of an oddity pick here. This is a cool map to do it, and I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, Abdul is still on the table here for Astral Authority, and they could go that route. Tassadar being banned out kind of indicates that they may want to go that route. They did this the first time in their last draft, and Tassadar, with that Oracle ability, does a really good job of preventing the Toxic Nest build from being effective. So Tassadar being banned out kind of leads me to believe that they will get the Abathur in the 3rd or 4th pick. I wonder if Chu8 and the Hot Doggies will be able to catch that.
Yeah, one of the things that I have to say though is that Tassadar is also really great if you go for a double support build. So if you do that, then you normally do it with some ones like Sonya. So maybe they're a bit afraid of that. But of course the Abathur, as you already said, is quite strong still. And having a double Sonya that can just go in is also like a lot. They're very dangerous overall. So you can either go into something along the lines of like an Abathur plus a support, or like a Tassadar plus a support if you want to put huge value on Sonya. But with Tassadar now banned out, as you said, they're already realizing there's a pretty huge chance that Abathur is actually taken by Astral Authority, and so Chu8 decides to ban the hero out in this case. So yeah.
Good ban. You can tell that they did their research here. Good play. Definitely. So looking over to Astral Authority, what do you rotate here for? You could go with the double global pressure here. You could pick up Brightwing if you would like. Brightwing, relatively strong on this battleground. She has a bit of a harder time against comps that have such hard engage, what they do have with Sonya and Tyrael. So I'd rather pick up a Rhaegar or an Uther here, and it looks like Rhaegar is being highlighted which could be great. I am missing some damage, though, from Astral Authority, and I'm wondering what they can pick up in their 4th slot here to kind of remedy that.
I like the Rhaegar. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to talk about Vikings anymore, but you have Falstad already, Tacita is out, Abathur is out, all the globals are gone more or less. Like, if you don't pick up a Dehaka here, you're never going to chase them down. They can just, like, completely cancel you 6 days a Sunday. So, yeah, with them picking Uther, I guess the chances of them playing Vikings are already gone because, of course, Chain Heal is pretty amazing if you play Vikings. Uther, on the other hand, looking for the ETC combo. So I guess Vikings are already out of the picture here. But with that being said and done, I actually believe that we could still be in for another Thrall here, considering how they played here so far today. And they need someone else at the front line. And Uborak is another hero they could actually point out at this point. But it feels a little bit like North America doesn't like an Uborak as much.
Nubrek is actually heavily favored against Li Ming, but we haven't seen too many Li Mings in the early parts of the draft, so you don't necessarily pick up a Nubrek right away. Lunara here, though, is an interesting choice, as she is pretty solid against double tank, and you kind of force Chu8 and the Hotdogs to maybe go for a double support comp here. Rhaegar can actually deal with it pretty decently. So we'll see how this goes. What the thing is if Tyrael does the same build that we've been seeing from Astral the entire day, I wonder if Lunara can even survive a majority of that blast coming her way. She's so fragile.
For me, it's interesting to see that Astral Authority is really relying that heavily on the Divine Shield and ETC comp, because that has in most regions really fallen off. It was extremely popular a few months back, but then most teams decided to go into more Rhaegar and Karazhan heavy builds. If you play Lunara, you actually try to force your opponent normally to go into an Uther, because Uther has no way to out-heal all of the damage that Lunara does with her poison. So I would have expected them to go into the Rhaegar, which they highlighted a bit earlier, say, yes, we know ETC might not get the best combo out with Divine Shield, but right now there's the Rhaegar that can heal out the damage from Lunara. Zagara is also played. That means Nidus, because Maw is actually banned at this tournament. So that's global presence all of a sudden that you have, and that will allow you to threaten, of course, taking altars, and at the same time also pushing down structures. And that puts, again, the Zeratul on the board, especially with Zagara being a rather squishy. If you have Zeratul to chase her down a bit, that is, of course, a great hero that can counteract it to a certain extent.
Yeah, you have 2 targets here that are very squishy to pick up. Zagara, Kel'Thas, and even Rhaegar to a degree if you can get that final hit on him. So Palladius looks like he wants to go that route. Curious to see if he'll run the same build here. I do feel like Chu8 and the Hotdoggies have a better, or not a better chance, a harder time here actually dealing with Zeratul. They don't have as much control. Hydra going on Zeratul is good, but Zeratul can still walk away from it compared to what we had with Brightwing in the Polymorph last time.
It's still a lot of pressure on ETC at the front line. That's the one concern that I have. Since you are going up against Tyrael, Sonya, you have damage from Zagara and Kel'Thas in the back, and ETC is very much alone at the front. Zeratul is not really the guy that stands next to ETC and is taking damage. He's not a Thrall, he's not a Sonya, he's not an Anubarak. So this is a very aggressive comp from Astral Authority again. Zeratul can put a lot of pressure onto Kel'Thas and also Zagara, but ETC will be under a lot of pressure, and it's gonna hinge a lot on how much he's able, or how well he's able to just keep himself alive here. But I feel like they have a very aggressive and solid draft that they can actually use. But Chu8, I'm very curious for the Zagara play. Let's just put it like this. I feel like Zagara can have a massive impact on the map and the outcome. But being as it may, Towers of Doom, guys, is the map, and you could already hear that the players are joining the lobby, so we're going to jump in straight away to start game number 2, where we're going to find out if Astral Authority can take a 2-0 victory against Chu8 and advance to the regional final, or if the Chu8 Hotdogs are going to force a 3rd map in the series. Game number 2 on Towers of Doom, ladies and gentlemen, and well, the match has started with could be the last map of the day, as we're seeing to the left side, Frozen X on Lunara, we have Battery on ETC, Gladius on Zeratul for Astral Authority, Dark Chimera on Uther, and Talking Trees on Falstad. And to the right side of the map, we're currently seeing Araragi on Sonya for the Chu8 Hotdogs. We have Talas on Kel'Thas, Chu8 himself on Zagara, Yoda on Tyrael, and Roria on Rhaegar on the support role here. It's going to be a pretty fun match, and especially, of course, Zagara is a hero that we have to watch out for, since her global presence is going to be one of the things to see how much of an impact it has on the game, especially since Maw is banned out in this tournament. We will see her with the Nidus network. And also on the other side, we have that Zeratul that is going to try and hunt her down most of the game, probably.
Yeah, he'll be staying Hinterlands as much as possible. He also has a pretty decent way of clearing up her creep if he needs to as well. Greater Cleave once again picked up a Zeratul here. So again, watch out for that build that will be occurring here from Caladius. Now again, we're going to keep an eye on Chu8 up here in the top right corner. I want to see creep spread to the max in the top lane. I want to make sure he has full control of that entire area, and we'll see if he can handle that lane while the rest of his teammates, Warrior, Talez, and of course Aragagi, are being rotating between the bottom and middle lane.
Yeah, the first and also the fifth objective on the map is also going to spawn 3 altars, so that's going to be one of the moments when both of the teams are going to try and use as much of their... They don't really have at the first one the global ability that they can really use to maybe get an advantage here, but Zagara is going to try and use that later on with the more. Araragi currently at the bot lane stunned out of the whirlwind right away, that's why Dark Chimera is actually there. And Frozen X is getting significant damage with this right now. They are actually able to take the first tower down already as is.
Yeah, and I'm keeping an eye on Chu8 here. I want to see how he positions these group tumors, because he's already setting up here for the 3 ultra spawn here. Wow, the flank on the Talking Trees here with the Hydra. Very aggressive, but will make it work. Very risky to do that when there's Zeratul floating around. Zeratul now moving his way to the top right corner. Going to help cleave down that top lane, and hopefully they can start getting rid of these creep tumors so they can set themselves up for that 3-span auto.
Both of the teams waiting, of course, for the level 4. The altars are in play. Mid lane, Araragi versus Battery. Bot lane, Kalthus has taken over. And yeah, I'm actually curious to see which team is going to be able to take the lead here right now. We have already the Corpse Feeder. You can also try to just simply get the pressure play with Zagara up at the top and delay those altar picks for a bit longer. In the early game, sacrificing a few shots is not really unheard of. Medusa Blades are there. This is allowing even more wave clear for Zagara in this setup now. And besides that, it is, of course, as predicted, again, the Gathering Power build on the side of Zeratul.
And Astral Authority is trying to get aggressive here with the altars. Actually, Chu8 and the team are doing their best here to be aggressive on the altars themselves. They're actually going to move up to the top left corner and push Falstad away and take away 2 of the altars. And still on the bottom right, Yoda has delayed the 3rd altar, which will allow for Chu8 and the rest of his team to rotate down.
And they also saved Kalthus, who was so close to dying, but now the shots are fired. The thing is, the fight isn't over just yet. Talking Trees flies in, but Battery is dead. Down goes ETC. So right now, Yoda, Roria all out at the bot lane, and they get the damage in. Yeah, it's actually like an interesting setup here. Again in the early game, the Chu8 Hotdogs are a bit more successful here, taking a few more shots over to the core of Astral Authority. But of course, this is one of those games where after level 10 we're going to see a very different match, since this is going to be an incredible important talent. With the Mosh Pit that we're seeing, the Divine Shield Mosh Pit combo, also of course then Zeratul with the Void Prison Isolation and Nidus Network, to mention one more. So yeah, the early game already promising a very cool match.
Yeah, I gotta really say that I enjoyed that bold play where we saw Warrior and I believe it was Aragi who actually positioned themselves at the bottom altar and then immediately transitioned to the top left corner to put pressure on Falstad to grab that altar. Such a bold play, but aggressive, and I loved it. We now have pressure down here in the bottom right corner as the mercenary camps are trying to push on in. They would love to get these saps on top of the turrets. They will finally do so. I'm looking at in the top right corner, Chu8, man, is under constant pressure from Caladius. He keeps rotating in, but he just seems to be getting a better deal here. He has not been caught out once. Kudos to him.
You have to be careful if you're up against the Zeratul, especially when you know that you're one of the preferred targets of him. Zeratul actually just waiting right here. Caladius is seeing if he can maybe drop some damage. They go in with Battery, and Kalthus is the target, and he is down. Frozen X even delivering a bit of poison damage during that battle. Roria now also on the retreat. Very well done here. The level 7 talent drops a bit earlier for the Chu8 Hotdogs, but still Astral Authority with a kill, and they pick the talent up too.
Yeah, good pick up there on Kalthus, and immediately you saw Chu8 and the team just go ahead and pull on back. They cannot fight without Kalthus, especially when Zagara wasn't available there. So now, both altars are being contested as Battery's down here on the right side. Is he actually going to even try to slow this down? No. They actually just trade 1 for 1 here and move back to lanes, trying to try and soak and move towards that level 10.
Not really going for anything else but just a simple trade, and now they rotate down to the bot lane where Nature's Culling could also, of course, drop a few more structures. And they might even get a kill now that they are starting to isolate Yoda. He's jumping away in Mysterial, but there was still a bit of a close call. Again, Kalthus a primary target as Frozen X jumps in, knows that the cooldown on the Gravity Lapse is still active, so he's not really at risk. But they need to rotate away. But they're forcing these rotations out of the Chu8 Hotdogs the entire time, since the red team, of course, is very well aware that with Nature's Culling, just a few shots against structures are going to drop them so low, and they need that experience. Both of the teams are basically already racing towards level 10.
Yeah, Astral's going back to the roots here and just really keeping up with the tempo, and it looks like Chu8 is finally going to get picked off here in the top left corner. Khaldor literally sat up here for about 90 seconds, waiting for an opportunity to pick off Chu8. He finally gets it, gets himself a gathering power stack, and now the rest of his team is going to rotate down here in the bottom right corner, and they may contest these mercenary camps.
Yeah, mercenary camp is stolen away, so this is quite a bit of pressure that the Hotdogs are currently experiencing here. With the death of Zagara, it's also starting to affect the top lane, of course. This can be pushed back as we're seeing Zeratul making the move to get the wave clear and therefore also, of course, experience. Bot lane is still pressured. And Lunara is getting value, and in experience, the Astral Authority is taking the lead. They're even getting those camps in now, which drops the bell tower down to half health. They're looking very strong here, and yeah, the Chu8 Hotdogs team has to be very careful that they're not crumbling.
Yeah, this is looking like a very different team for Astral Authority. They realize the mistake they made in game number 1. This time they're playing much more patiently. I'm watching Khaldor, and he is not playing nearly as aggressive as he was in game number 1. He wants to make sure that whenever he is making a play, it's for an exact kill. Finally, he does move to the top right corner and will secure another kill on Chu8. That also gives them level 10, one ultra spawning here in the middle. Now, as you mentioned earlier, though, when we do get to level 10, things become a little bit more aggressive for Chu8 and them. They'll be able to get the level 10 talent, you'll be able to get that Phoenix for Kael'thas, and of course, the Gar will start to be able to open up the map here if she gets that Nidus going.
Yeah, and this is something that we've all been waiting for, of course. And I have to admit that at this point, if you're just like looking... Shots fire, by the way, again, so it's going to be like even points on the core. But just these kills against Zagara are, of course, very annoying for the Hotdogs. And at the same time, though, it's exactly what Zeratul needs to do. It's one of the main reasons why he's been drafted in the first place, to put the pressure on the squishies. And of course, that's Kael'thas, but that's also the pick on Zagara. And Zagara is very powerful on lane, but she's also quite squishy. And if Zeratul goes in with a false stat, then you are doomed. You will die. And this is working so far out quite well for Zeratul. In the early game, Chu8 actually playing it very safe, but right now he has to move out every now and then, and he's immediately getting punished. Bell tower at the bot lane is retaken, but there's still pressure now, as we're seeing the top lane just about to fall, at least a few of the towers. Experience is lost to Chu8's team now too, and they are already a level behind.
Yeah, just adding back to your point here, just drafting Zeratul wasn't enough to make Zagara play a little bit more passive. She's such a lane bully, but without being able to have the ability to keep an eye on the mini-map and see where all targets are, because Zeratul is efficiently invisible at that point, you just saw how much of a power pick it's been. Now, at this point, we're seeing Zeratul just floating between the lanes and making sure to use that greater cleave ability to clear out minions. And we're watching Falstad, Lunara, and Uther rotating between the lanes that Zagara is trying to pop up into. That way they can put the pressure on it and hopefully get mercenary camps to put damage on those forts.
And in the mid lane, we have even more experience so by Battery. They are closing in on level 13. And if the next altar is being announced and they can use the talent advantage, that would of course be fantastic for them. Bot lane, Zeratul is all over the place. He's currently already starting to take down another camp that was taken by the Hotdogs. He's putting some pressure, therefore, also on the bell tower. Top lane bell tower has taken damage as is. And now there's another altar announced with a level 13 talent. I mean, you can't even really go for it. We're seeing at this point Face Smell taken. We're seeing, of course, also the cooldown reduction build on the side of Falstad, who's trying to spam out these Stormbolts a bit more. And even an unfair advantage for Lunara, which is going to push her damage even higher.
Battery does see that the boss is being grabbed here. Unfortunately, he's just a tad bit too late. I like that play, just because one ultra spawns, I feel like, are heavily in the favor of Astral Authority. They have a better comp for sectioning off teams. They have Mighty Gust, they have Void Prison, they have Lunara that can draw out fights. The comp here for Chu and them are for grabbing multiple altars, and that's just not happening. So going for the boss is a power play, but one that sets them up pretty well.
It was definitely a really cool play, but it also opened up the bot lane where the bell tower was taken again by Lunara.
True.
They tried to counter it with a move up at the top, but that didn't really work out. And keep in mind that there's still a bit of damage that they could dish out against the core if that happens. Okay, so the minion is taken down. But again, look at the map. Bell tower's taken, top lane, it's like these counter-clockwise rotations that we are seeing. You see Chu8 keep the Hotdogs moving down the bot lane to retake. Then all of a sudden you have 3 heroes move top, taking a camp, trying to push the next bell tower in. So they're really rotating against the movements of Chu8's team, and so far it's working out quite nicely for them.
At the same time, the Nidus network is not getting any value whatsoever, as Chu is being forced to constantly use Nidus just to take back forts. And you're right, these counter rotations are just so deadly. to Chu8 and their rotations, and it looks like Astral Authority has no signs of letting up. They want to keep up the pressure. They're looking at the mid lane here. Tal is trying his best here with Kalos to clear the way before they get any damage off, but with Mercenary Camps constantly spawning, we have more contested points here for Astral Authority.
Backdraft taken on 13 for Kel'Thas. They traded again another bell tower. Bot lane was retaken by Zagara, but the top has fallen, and now we are seeing the blue team focus into the mid lane. 3 bell towers are once again, 3 altars are once again on the map, and they are still taking camps here. So they're starting to rotate once more. Talking Trees has the global mobility that he can utilize. Zagara, of course, with the Nidus networks that she has across the map, is also in a similar position where she might be able to make that play. But at the top lane, with only 10 seconds left, we're seeing the teams starting to move over. Lunara actually goes straight for the bell tower here. And she has also that additional camp, so she's going to take that bell tower again. So even if there is an altar taken by Chu8 Hotdogs, it just means that they're not going to get too much damage in. And already at the bot lane, Falset taken one of them, and he's going to fly up to fight for the third.
And Cladius has done a good job here of delaying the grab here. Chu8 does come in. We have Cladius once again slowing it down. The Void Prison has been used. Battery on the left side here, dealing with Sonya. Trying to get the power slide into Mosh Pit. Will he get it? There's the Sanctification. He does get Kalos and Zagara at the same time. Dark Chimera is low on HP, but here comes Frozen finally with that damage to start following up, but Uther may fall before he gets a chance to start winning this team fight.
Uh-oh, Araragi might have gone a bit in too deep. Araragi is about to fall, but Kel'Thas dies first, and again, Gladius can maybe secure another kill as he's already about to flank here. Yoda moving back, and this is starting to look very, very dirty right now. This could be another kill here. 16 is also available, and that's a talent advantage that we have on top of all things here. Gladius jumps away. He has 5 stacks already on his own. Oh my god, this is a kill against Rhaegar. But 5 stacks already on the side of the Zeratul with his gathering power. That's 12% extra damage, and they claim another bell tower. They are completely dominating here right now.
Yeah, this is starting to be a really huge clean sweep here, and really that fight was going mildly well for Chu8 and the Hotdogs. The problem was Cladius got up an insane cleave that actually hit 4 members that took them down all to half health, and with Lunara's poison starting to spread out like crazy, you just saw the fight start to crumble so heavily into the favor of Astral Authority. Gotta make sure not to group up with that. I know Zagara or Zeratul is kind of a threat. You don't want to isolate yourselves, but you gotta make sure you spread out just a little bit more so that cleave can get that damage off. But now, one more bell tower going down the top right corner. We just see constantly Chu8 and the team is trying to grab whatever they can here, trying to fight back, trying to get their own forts, and being on the back foot is such a horrible situation for them because the mercenary camps at the bottom left corner that Lunara and Zeratul are probably going to put their attention to.
It's always bell tower trades that we're seeing here, and it's just like this movement on the map, especially with 3 heroes at the top and Lunara with the Nature's Culling just being solo, able to put so much pressure onto bell towers that she can take them alone, and well, it's just happening all over again. But let's not forget that we have even talents now at this point at least, and Sun King's Fury is a massive, massive push. Also Zagara with the Brood expansion right now for the cooldown reduction and the Hydralisk transfusion, and these boys have now an opportunity to maybe turn this around. Great heal on Kel'Thas already, they're starting to jump in again, and Mighty Gust had to be used, which isolates Araragi. He takes a lot of damage here, especially from Lunara, is trying to go in again, but Frozen X is already on the move back.
Well, the Outlaws are starting to spawn here. Void Prison is still available, so is Divine Shield and Mosh Pit. But yeah, you're right, we're actually pretty even in terms of talent, and however how brutal it may look here, in terms of extra score, it's 20-15. This game is doable here by Chu8 and the crew. Cladius is chucking around, sees Ryer, sees Talos, gets the cleave in. Ryer gonna be chasing him down, and here comes the rest of Astral Authority looking to get an engage here as Uther has just got the first altar.
Wow, ETC is down, but that cleave on Gladius dropped actually Kel'Thas to half health already. But this is exactly the soak that they need. So once again, both of the teams are able to secure themselves one of those barrages, and that means we have 16 versus 11. It's still very, very close. 6 kills versus 2. They're trying to make it 3 now as they're moving in against Uther, who's moving away out of that zone, and we have another nice Mighty Gust by Talking Trees covering the retreat here. So far, so good, but this game isn't over yet. We've seen a lot of great battles already for Astral Authority, and they are still ahead in experience. They're closing in on 20, but they still haven't won this match yet, and it is still winnable for the Chu8 Hotdogs. They have finally taken control of all of their own bell towers once more, so the position in the match, disregarding experience just for a moment, is kinda even.
Yeah, the Nidus Network has kept them in this game, I feel like. Even though they've been on the back foot the entire time, they're at least able to immediately respond to these forts being killed off. Because in terms of mercenary camp control, I feel like Astral Authority is maybe missed 2-3 camps this entire game. Every single other camp besides that and the boss has gone to them. So I feel like they should be much further ahead and the game could almost be close to ending. But being able to grab these forts constantly with the Nidus Network has helped out a lot. But
oh god. Araragi just got baited. Araragi got baited and taken out. They kind of showed the camp, moved away. He thought he could get it. He gets taken out. Chu8 is dead. This is level 20 on top of everything else. 5 versus 3 on the map, and this is brutal. It's only one temple. This is like the saving grace for them right now, or one altar that they can go for. But still, they can simply move into the mid lane and drop another one. Oh, what is Battery doing here? Okay, that was maybe a...
Gladius. Bit of a mistake. He gets picked off in the bottom right corner.
What are they doing? It's the same stuff that they pulled off on Sky Temple. They have a 5 versus 3 on the map. Why such plays? There's no need for him to die here. He just lost all of his stacks for nothing.
Trying to get the fort. It does look like Kel'Thas will get picked up. There goes the Divine Shield Moss Pit from Uther. And so it looks like the team for Astral Authority will be able to save that mistake made by Gladius. Warrior's been taken out as well, but gotta agree with you. A bit aggressive there. Zeratul needs to be a bit more careful, especially with the build he has. Yoda now getting picked off. Aragi trying to save here, but 3 members finally down here for Chu8. And now middle fort being grabbed, bottom fort being grabbed. A total of 6 shots will shell away on the core, and the boss is looking pretty darn appetizing right now.
Yeah, it's only 5 shots left, and now Lunara is at the top lane trying to get another one of the bell towers down, and that would be amazing for them. There's even a fight in the mid lane happening as Araragi is getting rather low, but they can't take him down here. But Astral Authority, they really tend to be greedy when they are ahead. And they could have played this much safer and still gotten the fort at the bot lane, but now they lost the stacks on Zeratul. They're still far ahead, of course, and they get the kill against Chu8 again, and Araragi is going to fall here too. It doesn't seem like Chu8 Hotdogs can come back into this game, especially since now most of the towers are taken once more. Araragi is going to die. This is like stacking the deaths and the cooldowns again. Now we're having a 5 versus 1 situation as the only survivor of the Hotdogs is Kel'Thas. But that was still a bit of a risky moment here that earlier and could have brought the Hotdogs back into it. Astral Authority far ahead, about to take it. Great play by them here thus far. But a few weaknesses still that when they move to the regionals have to kind of try to get rid of.
You can see Astral Authority is trying to get one lone shot from their core, but just barely Chu8 and the team was able to barely prevent that from happening. Remember, if one shot had gone off, suddenly the boss becomes the win condition for Astral Authority. So, right now, you mentioned it, it is really hard for this team to come back. The only way to do it is to take back their forts and start getting some picks and maybe somehow, some way win the fight. And lucky for them, there is only one altar down here in the bottom left, which means if they can get a clean sweep, it could go well for them. But still, once Mercenary Kit's pushing down here in the bottom right, and altar available, all the tools are here for Astral Authority to win a trip here to LA to compete in the regional.
Yeah, but Chu8 is trying to take down that bell tower so that they can at least deny that. If they have 1 point on the core, that would be enough for now. Sank is down, Mighty Gust comes in, Zeratul is channeling, and it's going to be enough. The mosh pit zoning, and this is it. The shots are fired, and Astral Authority takes it with a 2-0 victory against the Chu8 Hotdogs. Great play, and they qualify for the NA Regional. Congratulations, well played, and well done.